past has pain, it'll drive you, even make you take aim. But together is where we should aim. Together is where we should. What are we here for? What do you truly want? When change is not enough, what do you do?
You're listening to the Be Forever Cool podcast. My name is Rex 45. We're in end of January. We got about 30 days for MotoGP, less than 30 days for World Superbike, and then we got Motor America starting in March. So racing is definitely at the pro level coming back. At least the ones I mentioned. I'm sure there's some countries where they may be racing right at the moment. I was fortunate to go racing this past weekend, so I'll dive in that a little bit. It's fortunate, I think, Lewis as well, because he was able to jump on his R6 finally and run some lap. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some rumors that are coming up. And we're going to talk about a lot tonight. So we're going to have some fun in the process. But with no further ado, let's bring the guys in. TJ, man, welcome to the show. How you doing, man? I just jacked you up. My bad. Go ahead, man. Yeah.
Muted. I'm doing good. How's it going, Rexy?
I'm
Staying in
doing
there.
I'm doing pretty good as well, man. Can't complain. Can't complain.
As you know, my Patriots made it to the Super Bowl. I know we mentioned in the intro pretty often lately. So we made it. Hopefully, we got one more game to go. I was trying to tell people, just lock in. Can be a fan now. So I'm happy we're here.
Yeah, I think so, man. I'm excited that the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl. It's kind of one of those things that I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to believe. It's like we're kind of like, oh, what, 5 in a row, 6 in a row, 11 in a row, man. And we're going to the Super Bowl now. I mean, I think it's good for the fans like yourself and myself. I'm more of a around the edges kind of fan kind of thing because I don't really watch football, but I keep close to some of the stats, and I know what's going on and stuff like that. But after Tom Brady left, we've seen this with other stars that have left after they've won chips and stuff like that, and the team usually struggle for a little bit. So just have the Patriots come back and go to it doesn't. I think it's a win even if they don't win the Super Bowl for them. In all honesty. But so I'm excited about that. So yeah, so you're shoveling out and you're gonna make your way to San Francisco.
Man, the storm we just had is crazy. We had like 20 something inches. Yeah, definitely had to shovel a few times and still out there. But
Yeah.
waiting for this winter to be over with.
Yeah, hopefully my flight don't get canceled. I'll be up that way tomorrow. So
Should be good by now.
Okay.
Should be
All
good
right.
by now. Oh,
Well,
I can't speak. I didn't check the weather, but I mean, I don't think we're getting 20 inches tomorrow. So
uh,
you should,
all right, that's what's up. No doubt, man. We'll keep it moving. What's going on, Lewis, man? Welcome to the show. How you doing tonight?
Good, good. How's everything going?
Man, just putting out fires and watching the next one start.
Sounds about right. It's kind of par for the course for this time of year in the motorcycle industry as well. It's constantly shuffling around, coming up with new ideas, adjusting to changes that you didn't expect, adjusting to riders moving to other products, riders coming from other products, riders that were supposed to have bikes, all of a sudden saying, hey, I don't have a bike. So now,
Right.
we got to move the money from this guy who's going to be sitting at home this year and see what we can salvage and try to get something to somebody else, or so it's a hectic part of the season, but I kind of like it because it keeps you on your toes and constantly keeps you very alert to what's going on. So I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
You have no choice but to enjoy. I mean, I think we are, and myself. I mean, you got to enjoy it, but it is Man, I think the more, well, obviously you've been in it a lot longer than I have. You kind of get used to it, right? So you kind of move with the waves, and just deal with what's happening.
You do. I mean, but there's always a little hint of disappointment if somebody that you thought was going to be in your gear at the last moment pulls out.
Yeah.
Or and it happens for the riders too. Sometimes they think they're going to be in gear that, at the last moment the company tells them, hey, you know what, we're going in a different direction because
Right.
whether it's the team you're with or something just doesn't align with what we need this year, so we kind of have to move on to somebody else. And it's I hate to say it, it's just really is part of the game. Just like they switch bikes and switch teams and switch manufacturers, you switch gear, you switch helmets, you switch this, you switch that. So this year there's been a lot of movement all over the place. And the funny thing is everybody online who knows jack shit about it is an expert about it. So you get all, I get to read all these expert opinions by people that are, dusting the crumbs off their chest while they're sleeping on the couch because they know everything. And it's like, come on, bro.
Come on, Lewis. We need these people. As before he continues to put his foot in his mouth, I want to thank everyone that's been commenting on the platform. Really appreciate it. And he is right a little bit. Some of the folks, because but we appreciate the comment because you took the time out to check out what we've done. And you took the time out to write a comment, and I think Lewis will probably say maybe you should take a little bit more time to think about it.
No, I have some pretty good back and forth with fans online. People reach out to me directly, they DM me or whatever, and I have some we have some good exchanges. It's always like a little bit of tongue in cheek, like I don't take anything they say seriously, and they really shouldn't take a ton of what I say seriously because sometimes just like when you're with your friends, the number one pastime with your friends is busting your friends' balls. And sometimes they'll reach out to me to bust on me on something that I said, and I'll take it like a champ and I'll give it back, but I'll give it back in a respectful and a funny way because we appreciate all the growth that we've had over the past year. I mean, it's amazing how many people are tuning in and seeing the pod and listening to the pod and looking at the videos. I mean, we've had incredible growth. And now when I look around and I see other podcasts and what they do, and it's like, hey, I think we do it a little better, man.
A little better. But we'll let them tote their own horn. We'll leave it for the fans to do that for us, and we appreciate that because they've been some solid guys and solid folks that's been listening from day one, and like you said, they take the time out to DM you and send nice messages, and we appreciate that because they took the time out to do that, and they could have just hit send after they said 6 characters. So yeah, but let's bring Jordan in and chop it up. Jordan, man, welcome to the show. What's good, man?
What's going on? Sorry for the lateness. Had to take care of a couple little personal things before we start talking stuff. So yeah, had to make sure I got right.
All right, that's what's up. That's what's up. Don't get too right now. You know what I'm saying? I want you to be like Lynn Bias now.
No, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that now. We ain't doing that. I had to take care of some other side stuff. Take care of my stuff. I have perfect vision and good clarity. What I do.
That's what's up, man. No doubt. We're gonna have fun tonight. But we're gonna talk a little bit about some club stuff and some track day stuff before we dive into the rumors, because Lewis was he did do I'll let you tell it, Lewis, rather than me jack it up.
Which one?
What you been up to as far as being on the track and being down in Homestead?
I actually got to go down to Homestead to kick off the season with the Champ School and with N2 Track Days. Those are two groups that we've worked with for many years now. A lot of their coaches are in our gear. The Champ School, all of the coaches are in our gear from neck to toe. Anybody that comes to the Champ School and needs loaner gear, all the loaner gear from neck to toe is Dainese. And they've been a great partner because education is a big part of this industry. You need to be a well-educated, well-trained rider to be a safe rider and to really enjoy the potential of your motorcycle. If you don't fully understand everything you can get out of your motorcycle because you don't have the skill set to do it, you're missing out on a big chunk of how much fun it is to get on a sport bike or even get on a competent street bike and get the most out of it. And so we partnered with them. I went down there. We kicked off the season. They had a full sellout the first 2 days. They had a full sellout the next 2 days. So it's great to see all these people willing to make that investment in themselves. Because when you go to a champ school day, it's not a track day. You're investing in your own education because you want to move and progress yourself as a rider. And I had, we had a couple of stunt guys that I know that are big in the Dallas area. We had S1K, Mez and Rafa, ZX10 Mez and S1K RR, Raf.
Mm-hmm.
And, they came down because I seen them doing track days. They're Dainese guys. And I always tell them, like, I critique their videos. I'm like, your throttle's too late. Your brake's too early. You're turning in too late. You're turning in too early. You're missing the apex. You're hitting the throttle way too late after the apex. You're hitting the throttle too early before the apex. That's why you're running wide. That's why. So I said, look, come to do this champ school day because you're going to track days, but going to track days, nobody really sits with you and reviews like your video and reviews, hey, this is the way you do this. And this is the way trail braking works. And this is how you change the geometry of your bike. So they went to the school and they were blown away, man. And the 2 days they were there, nothing but, smiling faces and unreal. Like, these guys are in super bikes and they're getting smoked by guys on MT-09s, naked bikes.
Yeah.
And the guys on naked bikes are high level guys, but it just goes to show you have a much better bike, but you still, if you have the skill set to get the max out of that bike, that's great. And then our partnership is because safety adds to protection. And then there's physical protection and there's psychological protection. Psychological, the mental aspect, you learn how to ride. The physical layer, you have to protect yourself with the right gear, helmet, boots, gloves, suits, blah, 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 blah. And so it's a great marriage of the two. And then for N2 track days, I think they're one of the premier track day companies in the US. I mean, up and down the East Coast, they do a ton of days. All their days are very well run. They've been around for a long time. They're kind of the remnants of Nesba, which was like one of the OG track day companies from the East Coast.
Right.
And same thing. They give you the opportunity to get to the track and take what you've learned somewhere else and apply it in a safe way. So it's just a great marriage between our products, education, and then the opportunity to take that education and put it into application. So, and then I got to ride, dude. I got to actually get on my R6 and figure out you're not supposed to manually blip if you have an auto blipper, because then you're double blipping, and all you're doing is making the bike go. So, I'm analog, dude. I've never had that electronics. I've always blip. Chip, blip, chip, blip.
All right, man. Well, welcome to the 21st century.
I know.
So it was like getting out on the track for the first time in a long time, because that happened to me this past weekend as well. So what was it like to be on the track doing track days? And, how quickly did it take for your brain to catch up to how fast you wanted to go?
The hardest part was getting used to the bike. Because this is only the second time I've even ridden this bike, and it's the first time I've ridden it with the quick shifter auto blipper. I've had quick shifters in the past, but auto blippers I've never had. So it's like a whole new, like, wow, this will make me like 1/10 faster after I figure it out. But I won't have to blip myself. So, but I mean, if you know the technique of riding, you can go to any track and you can put corners together. And once you understand how to put corners together and how to be in the right gear, because that's the other thing. An R6 and a GSX R600, the RPM range and the power range are so different, where normally I would go into this corner in second gear on a Gixxer. I have to go into this corner in the first gear on an R6 because I need to get that RPM way high up.
Right.
But now as soon as I get on the throttle, I got to be ready to shift because this bike is going to wheelie out of the corner. Yeah. And so, again, different dynamics, but within – I'm going to say 3 sessions, I was, right up to speed. And I didn't go into the advanced group because there was nothing but sharks out there. I mean, there was a who's who of like 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old Moto America kids that bounce a lot better than I do. So I wasn't trying to go full throttle. I just like, you know what? I'll stay right here for this weekend.
Yeah, you got to get in when you fit in, man, for sure. Nice.
Hey, what's my question for you? What year was that R6?
It's a 2014.
2014. So you already had auto blip on there, or you added on it?
No, I had it added. The guy is not. Thank you, KWS. KWS Tuning in Charleston. Yep, Mike took the bike in for me, gave it a once over. Really did a great job. If anybody ever wants a quality tuner in the area, Mike is the guy. Mike took the bike apart. Just did everything I would normally do to the bike, but he did it much better than I would ever do it to the bike.
Yeah, I've been yelled at Mike a couple times. God bless you, Mike Godin. He's a great crew chief. He got yelled, or I got yelled by him a couple times because I had my bike serviced by another unqualified mechanic that was not up to his par. Yep. And he told me, he was like, if anybody touches your bike ever again, I'm not doing your bike. And I'm like, done deal.
I've known this for a long time, but just because a place has a dyno doesn't mean they know how to map a bike.
Correct.
And doesn't mean they know how to tune a bike. It just means they had enough money to go to DynoJet and buy a dyno.
Correct. Yeah. Mike has schooled me a couple of times, and long story short, I was getting some stuff done with my R6, my 2007. And I had my bike sitting right next to Jake Zemke's Formula Extreme. His bike was sitting right next to it because I didn't know that Mike worked on Jake's bike also. Jake, all the Jakes. So I'm like, is that? And he was like, yeah. It's like, but is that it? He's like, who else's would it be? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll probably do a podcast about like the different tuners up and down the East Coast and around the country that are like the top well-known tuners. But if you're going to spend $2,000 or $3,000 to get your bike done, there are realistically maybe 24 places around the U.S. that are probably the places you want to go to for specific jobs, whether it's suspension jobs or tuning or race prep or so forth, save yourself. It might cost a little bit more up front, but you'll save yourself a lot of money in the long run going to somebody that's a top-notch person.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Top tier. I've only dealt with a handful of those guys. I don't know if TJ's dealt with a couple of them, but Mike was one of them. I'm not going to even go down the list. Like I said, that's another podcast. There's a couple people here. Yeah, exactly.
No doubt. So we're gonna keep it moving. You got one more thing to add?
No, we're going to do rumors.
I'm going to talk about my racing first, and then we get to rumors. I mean,
how'd you do? You didn't actually go into it. How'd you actually? First, did you enjoy it? Doesn't matter how you did. Did you enjoy it?
Look at his face.
I think I did enjoy it. Like any experience that you have at the track, as long as you're not rolled away or wheeled away on an ambulance, I think it's a good one. So I did enjoy it. I think last year was a lot easier. We had fewer issues last year on the team I was on, and we were able to come away with a trophy last year. This year we had I was on a different team. On a Ducati Monster, which, first time racing a Monster, which is great. So I was excited about that, looking forward to that. One of the not a problem for the other three riders, but those guys had me by 100 pounds. Just imagine what that suspension was like for me. So,
rock hard.
Yeah, so it's like running wide at turn one, running right at this turn, because as soon as I hit the brake, the bike would just stand up and just want to go straight. And then we had mechanicals, and anyone knows with endurance racing, the bike has to survive. And so the second race we finished, first race we didn't. Because we have bike issues, we're able to rally, get the bike together to go race the second race, and it's running out to get parts and coming back and all that fun stuff and being able to get out. So that part of it is cool because it's different like sprint racing where 8 laps you're done, 5 laps you're done, or whatever the case may be. This is 3 hours. This is fatigue. This is mental with toughness, talking yourself on the ledge when you're ready to pit, and you're like, "Come on, man, you got a couple of laps in you, and you're debating out there," kind of thing. The elements, because it was a little bit chilly out there as well. It rained and stuff, and then so the bike finally died in the main 5-hour race. And we tried our best to get it going, and we got it. It broke several times, and every time we got it back out there, except for the last time. And so it's looking to next year. It's just, I'll probably be on a different team with lighter guys, unless these guys decide they want to shave about 75 pounds, and maybe I'll gain 25. But it's nice to be back at the racetrack. It's nice to see the racing family and connect with people that you haven't seen in a long time and stuff like that. And I'm looking forward to more racing. For me, it's the beginning of the season. Hopefully the plan is to go racing in March to a track day next month, and continue racing. But this is less endurance stuff for this year. But next year, we need to be Forever Cool team, guys. And TJ, you might have to come on down. I don't know, Jordan, if you want to chop some weight in lieu, but you guys can be.
And I'm 170. I may look fluffy, but I'm 170, and I still hurt people's feelings. I got an R1 now, but I still hurt people's feelings. I'm like, they're dying in there, and I'm like, dude, come on, let's go. Oh no, I'm tired, blah blah blah. And I'm still going through laps. So, dude, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, So I'm definitely excited. The endurance stuff is cool because it's a different animal, and when you're racing for a while and you've accomplished some things, you look at different opportunities and places to challenge yourself, and it's gonna be a long time before I can do an hour and a half stint on a bike straight. So I think that challenge is gonna be out there for a little while. So it's exciting.
So this is your first time VR4, right? Your VR4.
No, this was on a Ducati Monster that one of the other guys he was his team and he built. So it was lightweight. So this is a Saparano race. It's the biggest bike you can have is like a lightweight bike, like a R7 or SV650, R660, the Ducati Monster, or you could run the lower classes like a 400 or the 300 class.
So even the Duke would be qualified for that too, right?
Say again?
So wouldn't the Duke be qualified for that, for the 650?
Which Duke? The one I have?
No, the 650.
Oh, the 650 Duck would qualify too, but the 1100 is going to give you more power than the
1100 be too big. Yeah, I got that. Okay.
Not the twin 1100 like the Monsters, not like the 1199s or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. I'm down for that. I'm down for that. Give me a call. I got my suit ready.
All right. Listen, man. All right. Listen, as long as you make the weight, that's it.
I make the weight. I cut.
I ain't got to worry about that.
The W.
Yeah. Whatever. You rice and beans.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter how fast you go, as long as you can make the weight, the suspension is gonna work for you. And we'll have two bikes, so that way if one break, we'll have another one. Hopefully we don't break both, and have some fun.
I'm down.
No doubt. It's not a rumor, people, but it's time to move into the rumors. So what's the latest rumor from? I'll start it off, and I feel a way about this as I was thinking about it earlier today. Is it? I know you guys have seen the comments from Vinales talking about how much he's improved as a rider from Lorenzo. Is Lorenzo the rider whisperer? Like, what's happening? Is it a bit too soon to be giving him credit where a race hasn't started yet? It hasn't been half.
I don't know if everybody saw the videos. I've been seeing the videos from Vinales where he's got his Honda 600. He's doing some really tight turns, and he's going like really slow motion on these little mini tracks. So impressive in that way, the way he's able to show how the bike can move and how fluid the bike can actually be in slow speeds, dragging knees and taking really, really tight turns, stuff like that. So the average person who sees a motorcycle do that, they'd be like, how does he do it? Oh my goodness, I didn't think you could do that. But to the riders like me, you, TJ, everybody else, would kind of be like, if you know how to set the bike up and you know how to do certain little tricks and stuff, it's not that hard. Now, I know he's been working. Vinales has been working with him. He was supposed to be working with another Spaniard and somebody else. So to say that he's the whisperer, I don't think so. I think he's just got down to. I think he's really doing the fundamentals again because he's been doing such good, decent work. Sorry, I didn't want to use good, decent work for the past couple of years, even stemming from Yamaha and Suzuki. Now he's kind of like, he hasn't got he's kind of just slacks a little bit on the basics. And I think that's what he's trying to teach him is get back to the basics, learn the bike, how to maneuver it without doing extra stuff or relying on just the motor. If everybody knows what I'm talking about, relying on just the motor to do what you need to do on the bike, and then you'll get a whole lot more results. So, bike whisperer, no, but I think Vinales is definitely just getting back to the basics.
Got you. Okay, so East. Okay, TJ, what are your thoughts? I mean, I heard what Jordan said, and I don't think he quite answered the question, but he did say no, but like Vinales is giving Lorenzo a lot of credit right now on social media, and we haven't seen anything yet. And outside of his crash last year, he was one of the strongest KTM riders. So when we say improve on, he was already, for a guy on the first year on a bike, he was already riding. He was the top KTM guy. So what are your thoughts, TJ?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like Lorenzo's the whisperer, but I think he's just giving him motivation a little bit because Maverick was a good rider last year. He didn't have a strong year. He was hurt, but I think he's probably just very motivated about going into the season. I have seen his workouts besides riding. He's been in the gym doing like arm pumps and and chest twist and all these exercises that we really don't do. But
right.
He's been showing video that he's been working hard. I know all the other riders are doing the same. They're probably just not putting out the footage, but definitely Maverick's ready for this season. I'm sure that he's going to be one of the top KTM riders. As that's another thing too.
Got you.
Yeah.
What do you think about Lorenzo, in his sweaters and sipping on the cappuccino while he's teaching?
I mean, Lorenzo was a good rider, but he's probably just feeling like, people can listen to me and first of all, Maverick's gonna have to perform and show that he can win, and then he can probably sip his cappuccino now if he starts winning. But I think he's still a little too early.
Okay. All right, Louis, you're gonna balance the scale here. What are your thoughts?
I think Lorenzo's got a little Mr. Miyagi going right now with his cappuccino and his sweaters and just watching everybody else do the work. And he's like, wax the car, I'll be back. So this project with Vinales is not like a standalone thing. This is actually part of like Lorenzo starting his own academy, the JL99 Performance Academy.
Okay.
So similar to like the Rossi VR46 Academy and kind of what Mark is starting to do with a certain Spanish riders, Lorenzo is also trying to keep his relevancy in the sport by maybe mentoring, tutoring, and I'm probably even managing some of these up and coming riders because this is the best way to stay relevant in the sport and also make an income. I mean, not that Lorenzo's hurting for money, but more money never hurts. I mean, that's capitalism. So if he can get some good riders, put them under his belt, teach him the way. And Jorge Lorenzo is still one of the most, I think, underrated champions of all time. I think because he happened at the same time of Rossi and Marquez, we look at certain races that Jorge Lorenzo had with Rossi and even with Marquez and Stoner. And, those guys were the aliens. But, once he kind of left the sport, he didn't carry on as much cachet as a Rossi and a Marquez. Kind of the same thing with Stoner. They kind of disappeared a little bit, but he's been very active in announcing. He's been very active in MotoGP on the Spanish announce team as a commentator in different broadcasts. So he's still stayed relevant. And I think he picked the right guy because if there's one thing Lorenzo was really good at, is Lorenzo is a very strong-minded rider.
Yep.
Like he couldn't break his will. And what's the one knock on Maverick Vinales? That dude folds faster than an overcaffeinated Chinese laundromat.
Yeah.
Like
I gotta say, Lorenzo is one of the riders, probably number three, top 5 rider that's riding like with broken ankles and broken collarbones and still finish like top 5.
Yeah,
Not
no.
like-
The dude was as much as people used to knock on him. He's not good in the rain. He's not. That dude would ride with broken collarbones, ride with broken ankles, fractured wrists, ulnar bones that have fractures. This like the dude would just mentally tough it out. And because of the way he rode, you know, I think his style is very much like a Vinales style. Like Vinales is a very smooth, very accurate rider. He uses a lot of edge grip. That's exactly what Lorenzo would do. And I think it's good that Vinales went to look for help from a top rider, because sometimes as good as you think you are, turning to somebody that's better than you is not a bad thing, especially if it's somebody that's going to make you mentally strong. Because Vinales is strong on the bike. He's always been strong on the bike. It's just he's a little bit of a head case. You know, he can either be at the very top of his game, or something throws him off. He gets pissed off and he's trying to blow the motor on your bike, or he's trying to do this, or he doesn't want to ride, or, you know, the valve stem is 3/4 of a turn too loose, so the bike is unrideable. Like whatever it is, like the dude finds ways to get in his own head.
Excuses.
Yeah, but these are excuses that, you know, these are the kind of excuses that erode your confidence, because you actually start to convince yourself what I'm saying is right. Even if it's not right, you convince yourself. So I think him teaming up with Jorge is for all the benefit of the world to Vinales, because Vinales was the #1 KTM guy before he got hurt. He was the only guy that was consistently doing well, and they were starting to take his data and apply it to the other guys on KTM, because he was the only one that was making the KTM go fast. And then towards the end of the year, you saw Acosta got faster. Acosta didn't get faster because he figured it out. They just saw what Vinales was doing it, and hey, bring that over to me, because I can't fix a bike for shit. But obviously Vinales knows something that I don't know. So make my bike like his, and let's start from that platform and go forward. And then towards the end of the year, same thing. Vinales started getting better. The only 2 guys that really struggled throughout the whole year were Binder and Bastianini.
And Bastianini only,
and even Bastianini
crashed.
Yeah,
he was. If he didn't crash, he would be up there. But he
So I think and then the other rumor that we're hearing about Vinales particular is that he's already signed a contract for 2027 to be the factory KTM guy, taking Acosta's spot. Possibly taking Binder's spot, but for all intents and purposes, a lot of people are saying that he's taking Acosta's spot because Acosta has already signed a deal with Ducati to race for the VR46 team in 2027.
Right. And so, guys, as you heard Lewis, I'll put it to you too, and I'll probably chime in afterwards. You think he's already signed? Is this just a rumor, or is this a done deal? I mean, everything looks good for Vinales if he is signed to have a really good 26 season.
I don't think so.
Okay, why not?
I think it's too early. I mean, right about now, I mean, people are still. I think all the seats are done. Quote me if I'm wrong. Besides like one for 26. So I mean, to speak about 27 or to write about 27.
This is 26 and this is 27, 28.
Yeah,
you're talking about.
I mean, yeah. So to start not say worrying about, but to write off, the rest of this year already and be like working on, we're nowhere near, 27 silly season, 27, 28 silly season. So it's kind of like, I think it's more of a rumor. Maybe he wants to project something out, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't take too much.
I don't think so. I think it's gonna happen.
You think it's a done deal already? You think the ink?
Where is Maverick gonna go? He's not going back to Yamaha. I mean, like he's ruined a lot of relationships. Also, like Lewis said, he's a head case sometimes. So he can develop a nice relationship with KTM. Obviously, he's developed the bike, made it go faster. I feel like they can count on him to, be one of the leaders. Obviously, if they're gonna lose Pedro, because they most likely is relying on Pedro to be a good rider and develop a leader. So I think that it's a good chance that Mavericks just committed early. Like some riders, like even like Fabio, like he committed with Yamaha for so long. So I just don't see where Mavericks' next move would be if he on into 2027. So I think that it'd be a good idea for him to just lock a contract,
Yeah, okay.
in my opinion.
Yeah, I do think it looks good. I mean, everything lined up for it, so I think seems to be a done deal. He could stay with Tech 3, if in worst case, I think Honda would still be an option for him, and I think going back to Aprilia could be an option for him because he's the one that just left based on how they handled things. But when he was with Aprilia, he did win with Aprilia. Did they take that one back? I don't remember. Was it the KTM one they took back from Maverick? I don't remember. But you know what I'm saying? He was having that Aprilia riding really well. So I don't think that the relationship with Aprilia is so much severed as him just saying, I'm just not going to sign because of what y'all did. So I think there's some room for forgiveness there. We saw Taparock come to MotoGP with Yamaha, and he left Yamaha to go to BMW in World Super Bike. So they didn't hold that against him to bring him back in. Granted, obviously, Toprak won him the title and stuff like that. So as much as a rumor, I think that one makes sense. To go on, then what do you guys think about Acosta being signed, and if he is signed, is it the factory seat or just the factory contract with Ducati? Because it sounds like that's the only place he would be going if he's leaving KTM. Start, Louis.
Yeah.
I don't know if Pedro Acosta will get a factory seat. If anywhere he goes, he is going to get a factory bike. But he's one of the riders that has more opportunities than anyone else, because Yamaha is probably willing to sign him. Ducati is probably willing to sign him. Honda is willing to sign him, and Aprilia is willing to sign him. So really, he just needs the right seat for his ass and the right number in his pocket, because if I'm going to go to a factory team, I expect more pay, I expect more perks, I expect more of this. I think he really wants to be on a factory bike and a factory team, not just a factory bike, because there are additional perks when you're on a factory bike on a factory team versus a factory bike on a satellite team. Come
on, man. The man still lives at home with his mother and father.
Yeah, but he wants to move out at some point. He needs that extra cheddar. He's being frugal for now until he's not just blowing it all on Ferraris day one because he signed a contract. He's being frugal. I think Pedro Acosta has, of all the riders out there outside of Marc Marquez, Pedro Acosta has the world at his feet. All the other manufacturers want him. There's no manufacturer that doesn't want Pedro Acosta on their bike. I think Honda is a big. Some people might think it's a black horse. I think Honda is probably the leading place for him to go. Honda's always been very Spaniard friendly. Honda's always been a company that wants to get Spaniards on their bikes. Their team is kind of set up around the Spanish system. I think Yamaha maybe has an opportunity, but we've seen the struggles of Yamaha, and Honda's improving much faster than Yamaha. Honda is moving further up in the ranks faster than anybody else. Aprilia is there now, but is Aprilia going to keep both Martin and Bezzecchi? They'd be crazy to get rid of Bezzecchi after the season he just had with them.
Right.
So, if I was Aprilia, I'd be trying to sign him immediately to make sure he stays on Aprilia for multiple years for multiple reasons. One, he's an Italian on an Italian bike. That's branding. You need that. Martin has already kind of shown his cards. And if I had to choose between the two of them, Martin would automatically get cut just for being a twat. He acted like an asshole. I would cut him just for that. So if I can get an Acosta to come take the place of Martin, Acosta that's going to come in super hot, want to be the best, blah, 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 I would cut Martin in a heartbeat and bring in Acosta and probably save myself, a couple $1 million by doing that.
Okay. All right.
So again, I'm just looking at things. I look at things as quantity, quality, dollars, and overall value.
Okay.
And that's how I draft.
Yeah, and that you're right. Acosta can't go anywhere, so it really is going to be. I assume he wants a world title, so it's going to be anyone that's going to be able to give him that title. or give him what he needs to get that title. I've seen Zarco says, hey, and I've been saying this all last year, and I said Marquez should have stayed on the Honda, but Zarco says yes, the Honda can win. If Marquez was on the bike, he would have a good shot of fighting for the championship, and I felt the same way. And so he's like us, we got to believe the same thing, that this bike is a champion bike. So it's possible that a championship bike. So it's possible that Acosta could jump on a Honda and take that bike to on a championship, because the Honda's running pretty good. What are your thoughts, Jordan, on that? On Acosta, where he's gonna land? Does he is the world is his oyster and he can just do whatever he wants?
I was kind of agreeing with Louis when he first started saying it's like Acosta can almost pretty much go wherever he wants to. Another person that I was thinking of that has kind of like the world of his oyster was Alex. He's done really good in the past couple of years and mostly runner-up this last year. So, I mean, him, Acosta, and Alex can pretty much almost pick and choose where they want to go to, what team they want to ride. And I don't think if they do get a factory seat, yeah, there's a big difference between a factory seat and a factory ride. They can pretty much pick and choose and be like, hey, I can pretty much get you to the stepping stone or to this milestone, given the quantity of ride I have and the dollars in my pocket. I could pretty much, write a check and say, yeah, I can get you from point A to point B. So, it's really dependent on what he's really needing. If you need a particular bike or particular ride, or maybe something that he's looking for specifically, developmental wise, not say chassis wise, but developmental wise and direction wise, and then be like, hey, I need you to meet me at this place. And if they all say yes, then it's pretty much going to be a choice between who he wants to ride with, who he wants to go with. But yeah, I would definitely say the world is his oyster.
All right. I'm liking the sound of that. Do any more rumors that we want to bring up before we kind of talk about the next 4 weeks and what that's going to look like between practice and the World Superbike and MotoGP starting, and as far as if Acosta is the guy that's going to be probably the first to move, and then all the rest of the players will move around for 2016. 2027. But let's go back to what Jordan said. Is it too soon to sign those riders at this point versus wait until the summer break and see what's what? Any rumors we missed, guys?
No, I don't think there's any rumors we missed. No, I mean, those are the two biggest rumors that are out there right now. I mean, you're going to see a lot of crazy rumors coming up over the next little bit.
Yeah.
I know that on the World Superbike side, everything is pretty settled except Andrea Iannone. It looks like he's having a
financial crisis.
Financial crisis similar to our boy from last year that went back to BSB.
Scott
Redding. Yeah. And it looks like now Iannone is the next one there. And there's some rumors that if he can't get a ride, he might end up in the Bagger GP Cup Championship Series. So he might get back to MotoGP. It'll just be on an 800 par on Harley Davidson. So I don't think it's exactly the way he thought he was going to get back to GP, but he might be in the paddock on that bike. Other than that, everything else right now is just speculations.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened with the baggers, but it seems like, if they have that series and it's not like 4 Americans on baggers, there's a problem.
Right now, there's only one American that I know of on a bagger in the GP series.
You might go to Moto America then.
Now I talked to Kyle Wyman. And factory initiative is win the championship in Moto America on a bagger. That's the number one rule of what he's got to do. So he's 100% committed to winning the championship on the Harley here in Moto America to keep the Harley flag at the top of the list. Indian is having some financial issues because of the change in ownership. They're actually going to be closing their plant in, I think it's Michigan or Wisconsin. So about 200 people are going to lose their job because they're closing the plant here in the U.S. for Indian. And they make other parts for other Polaris products, but, mainly Indian. And I think Harley is, trying to reassert their staple as like the premier performance twin bike in the U.S. They've had some struggles over the past few years. A lot of dealerships have closed over the past 3-4 years for Harley Davidson, but they've got some new management and some new people at the top, some new leadership that has a very different view of how to do things moving forward. So I think Harley is really, really focused on the U.S. market, on winning that championship, and on growing this year, because the entire GP Bagger series is all Harleys. There's no Indians. It's literally the Harley Cup. Right. So they're investing huge in this because they also see the global market for Harley Davidson as a massive market.
Right.
So they're all in on racing and getting their name out there. So
I said that a couple of episodes. I mentioned that.
Kyle Wyman should have an automatic bid because, like, since the bag has started in Moto America, like, he's been there since day one. I mean, I feel like he's helped build the series. A lot of people have been doing doubles now. It's just like, I feel like, obviously you got to win a championship, but I just feel like where they're getting these other riders, like, he should be another American if he's not already on the list to participate.
The way I look at that is the way when the Olympics come around, do you want to send your very best basketball players to win an Olympic gold medal and maybe blow out their knee and fuck up the entire season this year and next year?
Yes.
No. I'll send all the B League, J League, college guys.
But then you don't have the dream team, and you don't have if you don't do that. Yes, you should, because that's dominance. You only know for now anyway. So there's no guarantee if you sit out you're gonna make it through the season. We see that with the NBA, and they're trying to manage people's time, and they still tapping out early.
Yeah, but that's because they soft as hell now.
So, but we'll see. You know what I mean? I think, as we're trying to, as the sport is growing back and trying in America, trying to be more, trying to get to the same status as World Superbike and MotoGP, because just from talking about the previous races back in 06, 07 and stuff like that, and the Americans and the way people talked about AMA. It's a different tone than the commentators now when they talk about Motor America and BSB and some of these other leagues, for lack of a better word. So I think
depending on how the series does this year, because again, this is the first season that they're having this series, depending on how the feedback is around the world to the Bagger Cups and to the Bagger racing, you might see a Kyle Wyman and a Rispoli and some of these other Americans that are doing really well here in the U.S. and kind of built the sport. I mean, Kyle Wyman was the test crash dummy for the Harley Davidson. They developed the swing arm. They developed this. They developed that. They took what was a bagger and made it into a race bike, and now they've been able to build a race league around what their team built here in the U.S.
Right.
Depending on how this goes this next year, then you might see him participating in 2027.
Gotcha.
And you might see more Americans participating in 2027. But I think also Liberty Media obviously they want more Americans to race, but they don't want just Americans in the Bagger Cup. They really do want Americans in Moto2, Moto3, MotoGP. I mean, they put out a bounty. Any team that's willing to sign an American will get like $200,000.
Yeah.
That's their commitment to try to dude. I mean, I'll come in dead last, lap my ass. I'll definitely ride whatever you give me.
Yeah, you're the numbers guy. Come on, shouldn't it be like 5?
5? I ain't worth 5, bro. 200 to race is way more than I'm worth.
I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm just talking about an American.
If you think about it, if you put an American on a Moto2 bike, right? On a Moto2 bike, to field a Moto2 bike for a season, you're probably looking at like 160.
That's what Josh was telling me, 160.
No, I'm talking for the entire season, travel and everything else. You're looking at close to $1 million to have a Moto 2 bike, go to every single round, have the gear, have this, have blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So if I can say, hey, you bring this American guy in, you automatically have $200,000 against your $1 million budget. Now you only have to come up with another 800,000. You can bring that up with sponsorship and so forth and so on. Or maybe the American rider also brings another sponsor that brings another. So anything that brings down the total cost of getting somebody out on the track is always an incentive to like a Moto 3, Moto 2 team. A MotoGP team, on the other hand, 200 grand, that's not even the tire bill for the first like half of the season for one bike.
Correct. Yeah.
No doubt. Okay. So let's talk about you pick your pick of the top 5 riders for the season. Who you guys looking to see? Think is going to be, I'll give you 5 because I don't want to say 1 because it's hard to pick. So I'll give you at least 5. To say, all right, this is my guy for the year. I think he's going to do this and why. Whether it's contract related or just it's his time because they're seasoned and or they just maybe the juju's gone because Oliveira is out and maybe Morbidelli is the guy. So what are your 5 riders that you think is going to be in the top 5 for 2026? Who wants to go first? I'll make it easy.
TJ,
oh, y'all trying to. I want to go first, huh?
Well, I'll give you guys all some time to think. I'll do a public service.
Well, can we just all agree number 1 is going to be Marc Marquez? Because I don't think there's any doubt about
I think
Marc
Alex
Marquez.
is going to be up there, so I think both of them is going to fight for it.
Sorry, say again.
I think it's going to be Alex or Mark for number 1.
Well, I mean, let's think about it and just give me your reason and why, and not, I don't think Rossi's gonna. I mean, not Rossi. I don't think Marquez is going to be in my top 5.
You're crazy.
Hey, TJ, go ahead, blow it up.
I mean, top 5, yeah, that's pretty hard, but I definitely I won't start with Mark. I gotta say Bezzecchi. I definitely want to see Marco Bezzecchi get off to a good start. He had a really good season. I don't know if it was expected, but he definitely had a really good season, and I'm sure he can carry that on. So I would definitely say Marco Bezzecchi. Obviously, Alex Marquez is definitely going to be front running. So I expect him to be top 5, along with his brother Mark. Then I would gotta say Fabio. I know they're developing the V2 with the Yamaha. I just want to see the improvement. The V4, sorry. I just want to see the improvement, especially his commitment, and I think he just deserved it, especially all the poles that he pulled out last year. Obviously it's a different bike, but I want to see him up there. And last but not least, I've got to say, Pecco, I guess. I didn't want to throw him in there. Pecco is definitely a good rider, champion. I want to see him up there. It was between him and I'll say Martin, but obviously he's hurt again. So
let me get your list. Let me get your list one more time. You said
Bezzecchi, Alex, Mark, and Pecco.
Fabio.
Quartararo, not the channel.
Quartararo, yeah.
All right, Rexy's going to say this at the end of the year. He's going to come back.
Well, no. So actually, what I'm going to do, and I'll before you guys chime in, give you some more time to think about it. So we're going to have a Be Forever Cool Award, and so we're all going to pick our races, and we're going to be scored based on the position. So, like, I don't know how fantasy motorcycle racing work, but if your rider finishes second, you'll get 20 points. If he finishes third, you'll get the points like how they will get on the actual scoring, and we'll add it all up at the end of the year, and somebody will get a Be Forever Cool trophy.
I'm down for that.
So this is the test run, but so we got so all right, that's so did you say okay, Fabio Gianantonio or Quartararo?
Quartararo.
And then you said Pecco is the last one, number 5.
Yeah.
All right. Who's up next, Jordan or Lewis?
I'll let Lewis. Lewis, the numbers guy.
Ah.
He's at the end of the track.
So I gotta go Mark right at the top of the list. I mean, he's got a lot going for him. He was by far the most effective rider all of last year. He killed on almost every sprint. If he can keep the same momentum, he's going to be very hard to beat. And he's got that little extra incentive that now he's finally got a shot to surpass Valentino Rossi in the all-time win or championships and tie, get to 10 championships. So I think Mark's got a lot of going for him. Number 2 is Bezzecchi. I think that he just came on super strong last year. He finally melded with the Aprilia. And after he melded with the Aprilia, there was definitely benefits because you saw Fernandez start to get faster in the Aprilia, and everybody benefited from what he did. Mm-hmm. Then I have Viñales. I think Viñales is going to be, if he continues on form that he had last year when he really started to get the KTM working the way he wanted it, and if Acosta was able to kind of get the KTM a little bit further, I think Viñales can go a lot further on the KTM this year. I think he's got a lot to prove.
Okay.
He's coming in really hot. Then I have Alex Marquez. He didn't finish the season strong. Like, he kind of fell apart the last 5-6 rounds of the year. However, he was stride for stride with Alex, with Mark and Alex were stride for stride for almost 3/4 of the season. And there's no reason for me to think that he's not going to come in this year as prepared as he came in last year. And then my out of the box kind of long shot or dark horse is going to be I'm going to go Furman Aldeguer. Furman Aldeguer. I'm going to put a young guy up there. I think Furman showed some real flashes of brilliance this year. And considering, coming into the season, a lot of people weren't expecting a lot from him because his Moto2 career kind of just ended because once he got the contract for Ducati, he didn't seem as committed to Moto2. But I think he showed that, the kid is fast, man. And the kid's not scared of anybody on the track. I mean, he'll bang bars with anybody. I think those 5 guys are going to be the 5 guys.
Okay. I like that.
It's a little Ducati heavy, but, I don't see Yamaha doing jack shit this year. Quartararo is going to try to ride the wheels off the bike, but, they're still saying that the bike's not as good as it could be. Mir and Marini, I don't think they're going to do much on the Honda, as good as the Honda's getting. Zarco, he'll do okay. The new guy in the Honda, he's going to find the kitty litter a lot on that bike this year, so he's going to get used to that. And then on the KTM squad, outside of Viñales, I think Acosta is going to be just looking for the door more than anything else.
Okay. So. All right. I guess I gotta do my list now. Okay. I see. Well, I'll start with Bez. I think we all got Bez on as a good a good shot. So Bez is solid. I have nothing but nice things to say about Bez. Happy for him. I think I got Acosta. I think Acosta, what he finished 3rd in the championship last year. 4th in the championship.
Fourth in
championship. And I think if he didn't crash out as much, I think he's up there. I'll put Viñales as well, because Viñales, I think he's going to come back healthy and strong. And I got Mir, although, I think he's found his winning ways, even though he didn't really win, but got on the podium. But he was a lot happier at the end of the season versus the prior years with Honda and stuff like that. And I think that's enough motivation. And to hear Zarco's comment, I think those guys believe that the Honda, maybe not every track, but the Honda has a shot to at least come away with some more wins this year than last year. And then I'll put Frankie on the podium. Frankie up there. And the reason I put Frankie up there because he's on the 24. These guys are going to be on the 26. We don't know what the 26 looks like yet. And until we actually see it in action, We thought the 25 was going to be an awesome bike, and only Mark could ride that bike really. Where Morbidelli is going to be year 3 on this 24, but year 3, I think it's year 3 on the 24 bike.
Yep.
And I think if he can get out his own way, and he needs a seat, so he has no choice but to be a good Morbidelli and not get in trouble and not get in trouble by by race direction or anything like that. And so with that said, guys, I mean, I
Wait.
Diego, go ahead.
Wait. You didn't mention Pecco?
Nah.
Nah.
Anyone else?
Hold on. I wish Reese was up here. I wish
Why?
oh man, Smitty was up here. Oh my goodness.
What?
It's a miracle. I mean, I don't know. This is
And
top 5?
I would have picked Furman Aldeguer as well because he has a shot. But the 26 Ducatis, we don't know what that looks like yet. So I'm not.
You just don't trust Pecco in 2026. I see.
Well, it's not, I mean, there's also Mark, DeJohn Antonio, and Alex. I mean, it's not like how I don't pick the guy and you still give the guy some flack.
Yeah.
I've moved on, and I'm still getting. Listen, man. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with Ducati yet. Test is one thing. We'll see it in action. Obviously, you guys are all right. Mark Marquez is the favorite to win because he's Mark Marquez, and there's no Valentino Rossi, there's no Lorenzo, there's no Casey Stoner in the paddock, and that's those are the guys that were built to stop him, and these guys, I know they're gonna try. For sure, the ones that we listed off, we know they're gonna try for sure, and all of them are gonna try. But we'll see what happens, man. It's gonna be a fun year. So I think it's a good list. KTM got a shot. Well, Vinales and Acosta and as a shot.
Yeah.
I'll give you my list.
What's yours, Jordan?
I'll give you my list real quick. I think Alex is going to outbeat Mark. That's what I'm thinking. Like I said, Alex, Mark, Zeki. I'm thinking about Pecco, but I'm really going with Acosta. I think he's going to have that rookie season out of his system and really be able to put some things together. So that's my top 4, and my 5th one I'm kind of on the fence with, but I'm thinking Zarco.
Okay, all right.
I just have a feeling Zarco has surprised me a couple of times, and I'm not mad about it. So I'm liking the other Frenchman. So yeah, Zarco is going to be my number 5.
And I like I'm a fan of Zarco, as you guys know, and I think that's a good option too. Zarco, I think Zarco has a shot. I also think Luca has a shot too. I do think Honda has a shot. I mean, I think Honda finished last year. Obviously we're just talking, so it's not like what we say is etched in stone. So, but from looking at last year, we've seen that you don't have to win every race to win a championship. So, it's going to be who have the best setups and who have the best luck that weekend, as far as the things lining up the right way for them. To get through that, and I think when everything lines up, it's fun to watch MotoGP. I
agree. I definitely agree. I can't wait for the season to start.
That's around the corner.
Yeah, literally. And I know they're still doing shakedowns and stuff, and they're still doing testing. So more videos and more pictures gonna be coming out almost daily. And then as the more they practice and the more they hopefully don't get injured, I don't want to see anybody get injured. I want all my riders to be healthy. So when the first flag drops, then we'll be able to see some real competitive racing from start to finish. It's good to see some racing where, some riders kind of break away a little bit, but then, I'd rather see it kind of bar to bar a little bit more than what they have been when Casey and Valentino was checked out. Even Mark Marquez and Jorge Lorenzo was just checking out. It's kind of like, okay, we know who's going to win. Grab the chips, grab the, see who's watching football now because we already know the race is over. So can't wait.
Can't wait. World Superbike does start before MotoGP. Just essentially one weekend before. Phillip Island. We got a lot of young former MotoGP riders in World Superbike. The grid looks. I think there's at least 10 riders. I know Bulaga is the runaway favorite. I don't know what it's like when you kind of, have one foot in MotoGP and, and showing up in high school. I remember when I was young and I was hanging out with grown folks. And I remember when I go back to high school, I was kind of like, what am I doing here? There's no fun here anymore. So that can be a little distracting in how much energy, you put in the classroom because, you're dreaming of somewhere else. So what do you guys' thoughts on, I know Samcat is hurt. I think there's another rider that's hurt as well. But for the most part, you got Gardner, you got Stefano Manzi that's moved up from Super Sport and won the title. So that's a very stacked team. Both those guys are killers on that Yamaha squad. Petrucci and Oliveira. Oliveira has a lot to prove. I think Petrucci does as well because I think Petrucci probably felt he probably should have gotten a factory Ducati seat and that wasn't offered to him. And he's been a loyal Ducati guy forever. But those guys are on the BMWs, and you got Ika Lukuono and Chavi on the other Yamaha and Ika on the factory seat. So, man, and that we're not even talking about Jake Dixon. We're not talking about the Lowell brothers, and some of these other faces that are in MotoGP, World Superbike. What are your thoughts on, how you see World Superbike shaping up for the season? We'll start with TJ.
I can't wait. It's gonna be a good season. I just want to see who's gonna be. Obviously, we see Bulaga gonna be the top guy. I want to see who's gonna challenge him throughout the season. I'm excited to see Miguel get out there, and it's just gonna be a good season altogether. Everyone, a lot of riders on different teams. Garrett Gerloff, I know he's on the Kawasaki. Not much improvement, but it's just always exciting to see him out there. I just want to see who's going to be putting the fight up with Bulaga if Bulaga can stay healthy throughout the season. And World Superbike is going to be a good year.
All right. You want to jump in, Jordan? Jump in, Jordan.
Barn burner. That's all I'm going to say. Barn burner. It is going to be, not say a toss-up. Yeah, I see Lewis looking at me crazy. Yes.
No, I thought you were talking about the Barney team. That's fine.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about somebody named Bonner. Barn burner. Okay. It won't be a barn burner.
My New York accent. I know you're not used to my New York. I gotta dumb it down. It's gonna be crazy. I would say almost every weekend is not gonna be a walk in the park for Bulaga. Petrucci, what's that little Spaniard guy, number 19? Gosh, I always forget his name.
Alvaro
Bautista. He's going to be up there. He's trying to get number one back on his bike, on his Ducati. So this is not going to be easy.
Alvaro. We're not talking.
He's going to be for a lot of times. Going to be winning a minute.
He got a better chance of winning gold in women's gymnastics, bro. Real talk.
He still needs to lose weight.
He is a little Tasmanian. Weight. Yeah, he's a little Tasmanian devil. So I think it's going to be really tight. And the first couple of races is not going to be do justice for anybody in the championship. It's going to be a fight.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's gonna be a fight. I think Ika Lukuono, man. I mean, that guy, he used to sun all those.
Ika Lukuono.
Ika Lukuono.
Ika.
Yeah. He's the sun those guys in Moto 2, bro. So
he's like I was gonna say, he is Nicola Bulaga's biggest competitor is the guy right next to him in the garage.
Yeah.
You always want to
Like
beat your
Luca Wona, I think people, Honda. I can't believe Honda let him go, or I don't know how much Ducati was willing to pay him to get him away from Honda. But in either way, Honda lost a big opportunity because that dude is, when I see him ride, I'm like, there's some guys that just stand up that have that extra sauce that nobody else has. And he's that dude that got that extra sauce, man. I think if anybody's gonna bring the heat to Bulaga, it's gonna be the dude right next to him in the paddock is gonna be Iker Lecuona, man. The Barini team, Alvaro Bautista is still on a Ducati, but for the last 2 years, he's been complaining Ducati is not working for him, and he was on the factory bike. Now he's not on the factory bike on a non-factory team, but on the same bike. You think it's gonna get better? It ain't gonna get better, man. Baldassari is another guy. This is an ex-Moto2 guy that nobody should sleep on because this dude can ride, man. And he's on a Ducati.
Yeah.
This dude can ride. And anybody who thinks he can't ride, they're in for a treat because if he does get that bike under him, you're going to see him. There's this guy was one of the top prospects at VR46 when he was in Moto2 for a reason, and I've seen him racing in the Italian Superbike series. This guy has talent through the roof. Petrucci is old. People are going to realize the BMW is not as easy to ride as Top Rack made it out to look. It's got a ton of power, but Top Rack squeezed a lot of that bike that most people can't squeeze out of the bike. Anybody that raced the BMW will tell you it's a bike that wants to kill you. If it's not helping you win, it's trying to kill you the entire time. This is the exact way Cameron Beaubier described his BMW. He's like, I either go fast or I survive it trying to kill me. That's how I win. There's no in between with that bike. But Oliveira, I think, is another dude, super talented, got a lot to prove. And if he can get the best out of the BMW, he'll be up there. Locatelli, another killer. Can the Yamaha do it? Can the Yamaha, squeeze 1/10 of a horsepower more out of an old ass bike? Maybe add an extra wing, whatever it's going to take to get it to work at some of the faster tracks. Because that was the biggest downside to the Yamaha, man, is you get on a fast track and I don't care how many wings you have, you getting stretched by a BMW and a Ducati.
Can't you just put a wing like a propeller on the back to give you?
They need a propeller. They need something to add. Instead of downforce, they need forward force. Put a sail. Put a sail or something. Anything that can catch you a little bit more miles per hour. But no, it's a stacked grid, man. There's a lot of talented guys here. I don't think there's anybody here that doesn't deserve to be here. Kawasaki has a new color green. That should help them.
New color, new Kawasaki,
bold new graphics. They're using the GSXR model of introducing a new bike. Bold new graphics.
Hey man, listen. Shout out to Kawasaki, man, because watching the old MotoGP races and see how long Kawi was in it for, and they were starting to find their footing. And they dominated, World Superbike with Jonathan Ray for so long. And, they could, I'm not saying they're not going to close their doors at some point, but they could have also left jump ship a long time ago. And they're in a space where they're still showing up and they're still trying to, be top, 5.
Well, I give them props. I mean, they're not Suzuki. Suzuki's nowhere to be seen on the starting grid except the parking lot. So,
Sorry, DJ.
In the back. Sorry, TJ.
So Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, 3 of the top 4 Japanese are still doing it. BMW is doing it. Ducati is doing it. I mean, the only bike that we're missing from World Superbike is Aprilia, but Aprilia has put all their eggs in the MotoGP basket, so they just don't have the bandwidth to make a World Superbike, or they don't want to make a World Superbike. They're happy with what they're doing. But as far as entertaining, I still believe between the 2 race series, you see more competitive racing in Superbike because for the most part, the bikes are a little bit closer versus seeing the parade laps that you see in MotoGP where, a handful of guys get out front by 2-3 seconds and then they just maintain it. And then you see a couple of passes in the last few laps as the tires drop off. Whereas And World Superbike, you can see some really good racing from beginning to end, nonstop, guys competing to the last lap. So I like both. I mean, MotoGP is like Formula One. I love it because of the technology. But if I want to see bar banging and excitement, I usually watch Moto2 and World Superbike and World Supersport.
And BSB.
And BSB, yeah, those guys are crazy too, man.
Crazy.
I couldn't do it.
I was gonna say those tracks are small. Well,
Bro,
not small, but like
they're
narrow.
racing hallways, man. I ain't gonna lie, man.
My driveway is wider than that track. No, I'm not doing it.
For real.
All right, fellas. Well, we've covered the rumors. We've covered what's to happen next week. We're covering the 2015 season of MotoGP and what we know, what we don't know, and what really happened. My name is Rex 45. It's the Be Forever Cool podcast. I want to thank everyone for liking, subscribing, commenting, showing us love wherever we go, and you buck up on us, as us Jamaican like to say. It's all love, and we appreciate all the feedback, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Do not throw anything on stage is all I ask. We got Jordan Long. We got Jordan Long from Jordan Long Racing. We got TJ from Two Wheels and Coffee. We got the real Louis Ortega, the numbers guy. Peace.
Take care, guys. Come on, puppy.